The following may contain language that is not suitable for all audiences. It's time for the Low Fact Podcast. Well, all right. So, yeah. Weird stuff going on.
It's been a little while since we've talked to you.
And weird stuff's been going on. Which, I don't know. I don't know that it's all that weird.
Well, please explain.
Well, I think it's pretty clear that all the stuff that we're being inundated with, no matter which side of the aisle you think you sit on, the political aisle, that is.
Okay.
That everything that's going on is wanted.
Wanted?
Yeah. Desired by the powers that be.
But, okay, so do you have an example? Because you were talking earlier on about the border crisis, right?
Well, I don't know that it's a crisis.
Well, you were talking about the border. Yes,
that there are illegals kind of marching through like hot knives through butter, just coming in willy nilly, and
right.
It seems like well, if you're on the quote unquote conservative or right wing side of stuff, the thing is to get you really angry about all these illegal immigrants coming in here, taking away your jobs or doing whatever. I don't know that they're taking away jobs.
Yeah, well, that's the jury's out on that one.
But I do think that border security is very important to any nation.
It should be.
So the fact that it's wanted means that somebody doesn't want this nation to exist. Again, that could be that's an assumption.
Damn, Dave goes like, why don't you tell me what you really think? Damn, dude.
No, that's actually an assumption. I don't think that people think that far ahead.
Well, but there's plenty of people on the right saying that.
Yeah, to get their base riled up.
You don't think they think that?
I don't know that they believe it or not.
Well, it's hard to know what somebody believes when they tell you this is what I believe.
Oh, I think it's damn easy to know what someone believes.
How?
You watch what they do. If someone swears up and down that they are not a person of violence as they're beating the hell out of somebody, then you know what? I think that's a little bit of a hint.
So, in this context, people sitting there and saying, we need to do something about this, but then they're not doing anything about it, would suggest that they don't want to do anything about it.
Especially when the people saying we need to do something about this are the people with the power to do something about this.
Yeah.
See what I'm getting at?
Yep.
And, my favorite topic I can talk about till the cows come home, because I just don't understand, is hypocrisy. I might actually have to go and start studying the etymology of it, the history of the word, and because now it's just kind of used like if I tell you to do something that I'm doing, I'm a hypocrite.
Right.
Or tell you not to do something that I'm doing is that's the gold standard for hypocrisy, right?
Yep.
But
that would be the definition of hypocrisy.
Doing something that you tell other people not to do?
Mm-hmm. But anyway.
See, I always thought that the definition of hypocrisy was proclaiming a belief in something that you don't actually believe. For example, there are people that talk up and down about rights. But they don't care about your rights. They want the rights. Like free speech or free expression or,
whatever.
Personal autonomy, right?
Yeah.
Every single one of these people that I have seen talk about this stuff, usually a pundit, maybe someone in power, totally believes in that for themselves. They just don't think that you should have it. Now, how is that hypocrisy? They believe in it. They just don't believe in it for you. Is that really hypocrisy? Maybe it is.
I would say that falls under the umbrella of hypocrisy.
It does now, right? That's just like election fraud.
Okay.
A lot of people feel that something fishy has gone on in the past election, but they don't fit the definition of fraud.
What went on doesn't.
Right.
Like, because they changed, like, voter law, they changed laws and
Everything
stuff.
that happened. Like, fraud is a very specific thing. It's a specific crime that society has decided that the people that make the laws a long time ago decided these are the elements of fraud. I believe it's a 4-part test. I can't remember.
Don't look to me, man. Don't look at me.
I think it's intentional misrepresentation of material fact.
With the intent of...
That's scienter. That's episode. That's number 3.
Yeah.
Number 2 is reliance on the person.
Right.
On the other person.
Reliance by the other person.
Right. The intent, which is scienter.
Intent to
right.
What? Intent to...
To deceive.
Deceive, yeah.
And then...
Unlike defraud.
Then the damage. But... And I don't want to get into it because we talk about it so much and everybody else does too.
Do you mean the election fraud?
Well, the election irregularities, if we want to be totally...
We talked about this a few weeks ago and you said that it's never going to come out.
It's going
to... Except in like a long, long time.
It'll...
How do you know that it's not going to come out sooner?
The admittance?
Yeah.
The admittance by the party perpetrating the fraud?
Oh, yeah.
Because I've seen it happen. Kennedy election. The removal of Admiral Rickover.
Actually, everybody's like... All the insiders are like I think Mitch McConnell, when somebody tried to race it with him the other day, he was like, "Oh, we need to move on," right? Like he's like, "We need to focus on the current issues. Like we need to stop talking about the fact whether there was any election fraud." Like he was like, "Just let's not talk about it."
Yeah, well, he doesn't care.
No, he doesn't, and he's probably happy that Trump's gone. I would think.
Well, yeah, because he wasn't part of the establishment. I think that's the only thing I think that's the thing that really kind of sank his boat.
But he might come back.
Maybe.
And if he comes back, there's going to be some shit, man.
Maybe.
Like maybe all the establishment guys will get ousted.
I don't think so.
I keep waiting for Nancy Pelosi to fucking go away.
Well, probably when she dies. But then
No,
her daughter
that.
then her daughter will get her seat.
Is her daughter her daughter's in politics as well?
Well, it doesn't matter. That's how Nancy Pelosi got her seat.
From her mom?
No, from somebody. She got a seat that came empty.
Mm-hmm.
That was pretty safe. I don't remember if it was her, but somebody basically said a bar of soap could stand for an election in this district, and they'd get it. But Nancy Pelosi's an insider. Her dad was like the mayor of Baltimore or something like that. They all do that. They all pass it on. The establishment folks aren't going to leave. And newsflash. I'd say 80 to 90% of the normies, the people that don't have anything, are establishment people too.
Really? How so?
What do you mean, how so? Don't be trying to tee up stuff for me.
What do you mean the normies? You mean
the regular folks like you and me, the sheep and goats? They ain't got jack.
We're part of the establishment.
80 to 90% of us are.
But I thought the establishment guys were people that were doing very well.
They're part of the establishment too. The establishment is not very few people. It's this whole thing.
So it's not just the ruling class then?
The ruling
So
class.
when you say establishment, I think of ruling class.
The ruling class are the biggest beneficiary of this establishment, and if the tables get turned and upended,
right,
they're just going to switch sides. If you know anything about Chinese history, there have been hundreds, maybe thousands of tens of there have been tons of dynasties ruling China ever since Qin.
Don't look at me.
Yeah, Qin, the first emperor.
Okay.
That unified the country.
Right.
From various little warring states.
Okay.
The kings may change, or look at the kings of England. Right? The kings changed, the families changed. The current ruling family of England, the United Kingdom, Great Britain, it's a new house.
But it's the same families.
No, it's different. Like the first family that started was Alfred. Was the first king of England.
I should know that.
And then that kind of switched up. And then William the Conqueror, Dukes of Normandy came in, right? Mm-hmm. And he and his family a little bit. Then there was like the Plantagenets, Henry II.
Yeah.
And Tudors, Stuarts.
Are you doing this in order?
I don't know.
If you are, I'm impressed.
And then when they didn't have a king, then they went to Hanover and got George the First. Mm-hmm. That went up to like George the Third, and then the woman that was going to be the queen died. Oh, Queen Anne. Queen Anne was also one, right?
I don't know, man. I should know.
King William of Orange.
Yep.
I'm going back now, but it's like Reformation. So like they beheaded King Charles. Had Cromwell for a while. He got killed. And then
then Henry VIII.
William of Orange came over. Henry VIII was before that.
I thought Henry VIII killed Cromwell.
If he did, it was a master stroke from beyond the grave, like a couple of hundred years after his death.
Who am I thinking of that was hanging out with Henry VIII then? His advisor.
Oh, it was the grandfather.
Oh, okay.
It was
Cromwell.
It was Thomas Cromwell.
Ah, okay. That's terrible that I just, yeah. Clearly I need to go and get a book on British history and read it.
No, but my point is the bureaucracy stays the same. The establishment is the bureaucracy.
Right.
And even if you think about it, right? Like the whole reason during the Soviet era why they had the political officers even into like 70 years after they had deposed the Tsar was because there was that civil war, but you still needed officers in the army.
Yeah. You
still needed bureaucrats, and the communists knew that they wanted to make sure that the former Tsarist officers you need somebody to police them.
Right.
Which is why they had the political officers. And that stayed for 70 years, way past the time when you would need to test someone's loyalty on whether or not they were going to be part of the Tsar, bring back the Tsar. If you look at Khmer Rouge, right?
Yep.
Or even East Germany. When reunification happened, all those people that were high up in the Communist Party of East Germany, they were now part of the Bundestag.
Iraq.
Okay.
Well,
Ba'ath Party?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the Ba'ath Party guys.
Well, that guy was it Tariq Aziz? He was there when Saddam took over. He was there when Saddam got taken out.
Yeah.
So the establishment is not just the ruling class. The ruling class is like they're the mascots. The establishment is the bureaucracy. The establishment is everybody else, sitting there making their living, doing their thing. Talking about, hey, I'm just trying to do what I can to make a living for my family. No one can blame me. And you know what? No one does. But that still doesn't take away from the fact that you're in the establishment. Heck, everyone around right now making money, whether you're a truck driver, a teacher, a doctor, a nurse, EMT, whatever, you're in the establishment.
See, I'm pretty sure there's a few truck drivers that would disagree with you there.
Only if they're not driving a truck.
Oh, you mean if they're like... Yeah, I struggle with that, though, the idea to think that, like, someone who's driving a truck is part of the establishment.
Well, they have a vested interest in keeping things going because they want to make money, take care of their family, have a roof over their head.
Yeah. Yeah, this is true.
Do I blame these people? No, because I'd probably do the same thing. But that doesn't, just because, and that's something that a lot of people don't get about me. Just because I think that I would do something, don't make me thinking that that's a right thing. I mean,
just because you think you'd do it.
Right. You see me sit there and call people stupid for doing stuff that I think is stupid.
Right.
And this might be a little sinful, but I pride myself on the fact that when I do something stupid, I call myself out on it.
Like, I'm about to do something stupid, or I just did something stupid.
Yeah, and I acknowledge it. It's a stupid thing. And if someone decides to hammer me for it, I'm going to fight. But that don't make my position correct.
That's so weird. You're so weird.
I guess I am.
You're a weirdo.
But one of my personal heroes is Cincinnatus.
Cincinnatus being the guy that got asked to rule Rome and then gave up.
Well, yeah, he got the baton of power. He was like a dictator or something because to fight off an enemy.
Yeah.
And of course, the way they still is like he was a farmer. He wasn't like some sharecropper.
No.
He was
just like when they say Jesus was a carpenter.
What do you mean?
He was fucking pretty educated for a carpenter, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So,
especially back then when carpentry wasn't
he could write, read.
Especially when carpentry wasn't like a skill it is today.
He was erudite. I mean, I'm like, okay, there's something missing there from the story. But,
But we've got a little off track, but...
I have one other thing I want to talk about. Did we finish or not really?
We never really finish, and we never really... So, whatever.
So I ran into I see a cop from time to time at my local Ralph's. He's out in the LAPD. He's a Iraq veteran. Mm-hmm. And so he was telling me that he's taken early retirement along with 2,500 other LAPD cops.
He's got his 20 in?
Yeah, he's got his 20 and he's
decided not to go for his 30?
He's not getting the shots.
Okay.
And so the union is not backing any of these people that have refused to get the shots.
Okay.
So they're all like, fuck you, I'm taking retirement.
Okay.
And I'm just like, wow, there's going to be 2,500 less cops.
And they've got a shortage. County. They've got a shortage already.
Yeah, it's going to be like a freaking veritable shit show in LA. And it's soon. I think it's like in the next few weeks.
Well, it's already a lot of places, and I think changes and upheavals are coming, and That scares a lot of people. Scares me a bit, but it doesn't scare me a bit.
Scares me a bit.
No. I'm definitely scared, but being the non-religious believer that I am, you kind of gotta put it all in somebody else's hands.
Dude, the fucking freeways are like the Fast and the Furious in LA these days, man.
There's a lot of things that are dangerous. And, we will do what we can do. But I have found that what we can do isn't very much. Now, when things work out, we say it's all due to what we put in.
Yeah.
But my personal philosophy on that. It's nobody puts in any more than anybody else does.
It's just, and so I was talking to him about this, but the other thing we were talking about is like people who are hating on the cops, right? And I'm like, what is the first thing that people say when shit goes down? What is the first thing they say?
The weak ones?
Yes, most people.
They want, because...
Has anyone called the cops? Like, oh, you need to call the cops.
Because you've been conditioned.
So, like, if there's shit happening, like, nobody's gonna deal with it, right?
Well, they're gonna be forced to.
I mean, I've gone out and gotten in amongst it with people having fights in the street before. But I don't know why, because it's not like I could fight anybody, but I would say like 95% of people just don't want to get involved in any kind of a situation.
Well, that's going to have to change. That's going to change right quick.
Yeah. So, and it's going to be like...
And I'm not saying that people need to start fighting. That's no. The worst thing that can happen is for people to start picking up pistols and rifles and start shooting them because, if anything is proof that you can't do that it's not a movie.
Yeah.
We're being inundated with information about what happened on a movie set.
Yeah.
This whole belief that you can pick up a firearm and all of a sudden turn into a stone cold sniper is laughable. The shortest sniper school I can think of is 6 weeks.
Yep. And you got to be trained to like be able to like shoot somebody voluntarily, and even then.
Okay, so the shortest military firearms training I can think of is like a day.
That's pretty short.
Well, it's the Air Force.
Well, that sucks. That's a reason not to join the Air Force.
Well, that's not if you're wanting to be an infantry soldier. If you're trained to be someone technical crew to fix
signals operator.
Technical crew to fix up airplanes, then yeah, you definitely want to join the Air Force. But I don't know if it's changed, but almost 30 years ago, Marine Corps boot camp, their rifle training is 2 weeks. It's a 2-week phase.
That's a lot.
Well, the first week you don't even shoot one.
They just teach you about the gun.
Well, they teach you about the rifle all throughout, but for the first week of rifle range, all you're doing is sitting in various positions.
I'd be like, can we hurry up and shoot this thing, please?
That's week 2.
Yeah.
So,
must be kind of exciting when you finally get to shoot it.
I heard that it was.
But yeah, like I feel sorry for this guy because I'm like he's a good I can tell like he's a stand-up guy. He obviously like fought for his country. He obviously I think he's probably a very good cop. And it's like whenever I see the guy, it's like he's like, hey, like it's like literally like he's very down. And I can tell, like, affected by the fact that there's been this sort of anti-police movement. Right?
Which I think is total BS.
I mean, and that's what I say to him. I say to him, look, dude, I was like, and he said he said when he said I'm leaving, and there's going to be 2,500 less cops. He said people better start doing stuff. He said they better start doing some stuff about some things because he's like otherwise it's it's going to be a free for all.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
and he said if people don't start doing anything, then he's like I don't know.
Well, then they're gonna bring all the cops back. Please come back.
Yeah.
You know, I give cops a lot of grief.
I know you do,
but
you get respect from cops too.
Well, I don't mean it.
Yeah.
Right. It's the old meme about how the difference between the way men socialize as opposed to the way women socialize.
Men give each other shit and they don't mean it.
Right. Men say all kinds of mean stuff to each other about each other that they don't mean, and women say all kinds of great things about each other to each other and about each other that they don't mean. And I'm like, okay. But yeah, being a cop's a tough job.
Yeah.
It's stressful. And I remember I recently had a conversation with a guy, a black guy, who was talking about a buddy of his that he used to play in Little League. He used to play with in Little League, white guy, right?
Yeah.
And he became a cop and he's just all racist now.
Really?
Yeah. And I'm just like, well, kind of shows how tough the job is, I suppose.
Right.
Right? I mean, when all you do is litigate, then basically all you want to do is argue with people.
Yeah.
So when all you do is go out and meet people on or after, or generally a lot of people that they encounter, they're encountering them on a very bad day.
Oh yeah.
So,
yeah.
that takes a toll. And there are tons of great cops. There's tons of bad cops. But that's just because we're all people. It's not like we're not machines.
Yeah, I just want to shake some people though. It's like when I hear that and when I see that and when I witness that, I'm like, fuck people that like just anyone that would sit there and say defund, we need less cops. I'm like, you're a fucking idiot. That's like saying if we get rid of all the guns, then everything's going to be good.
Yes, those are both very fallacious arguments.
And I'm like, do you really fucking mean that? Like, do you actually mean that? Or are you just, some shill that's like, this is just your thing that you say?
Because
if it's your fucking backyard, you can be damn sure that's the first fucking phone call you'll be making.
I would have more respect for someone who's a shill saying that than someone who actually believes it. Because if it's someone who actually believes it, then that person is not using the brain power that God gave a turnip. And of course, there are things that shape people's opinions, right? I don't think that it would be, from the black friends that I've had that tell me about how they always that get shaken down by the cops, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or approached by cops. Dude, that's got to wear on you.
Yeah,
definitely does. But on the same token, when what is it, like 6% of the population is responsible for like 80% of the crimes?
Yeah. Then
people are playing the numbers, right?
Yeah.
Is that an excuse or an explanation? No. Because, if you get followed, or every time you go somewhere, like cops start harassing you, stopping you, asking you what's going on, what are you doing here, blah, blah, blah. That could get old on the second time.
Yeah, let alone your whole fucking life.
Yeah. From the time that you're a teenager.
Never feeling like you're just safe around cops.
Yeah. Yeah. I can see how that would wear on you.
Yeah.
I mean, I got profiled once, which was hilarious. That was a novelty for me. I thought it was funny as shit. Actually, no, twice. The first time I was in Indiana, and every little town I got into, I got followed by cops.
Wow.
Until I got to
the state line?
Elkhart, because I was heading towards Notre Dame, and I was talking to a cop, to a state trooper from Indiana, in Indiana. I was like, why are all the cops following me around? Is it because I'm not white? And he looked at me and was like, well, there isn't really a rash of Asian crimes going on in Indiana right now. And he was like, what kind of car were you driving? I was like, I was driving a company car. It's like a Ford Taurus, man. It's like the whitest bread granny car you can think of.
Uh-huh.
He was like, well, that's really strange. And then he says, what kind of license plates were on there? I was like, Ohio plates. He's like, that's why. So I wasn't profiled for being Asian. I was profiled for being out of town.
Because you're an outsider.
Yeah.
That's funny.
And that happened to me in Missouri too. When I was outside of St. Louis, going to this city called St. Charles, in the suburbs, some cops followed me around for a bit, and I was just like, "Well, that's funny."
Wow.
But
yeah, so the shit's coming down. The shit's coming.
Oh yeah, it's been coming. It's been a long time coming.
But it's gonna get worse. It's gonna get worse before it gets better.
I don't know. I hate that cliche. I don't know if it's going to get worse.
I hate the cliche, but right now I feel like the cliche might be right.
Well, but here's the thing. It don't have to get better.
Oh, yeah. It could just it's going to get worse before it gets worse.
It don't have
it's
to
going to get worse before it gets worse.
And it doesn't have to get worse either.
But it's going to get worse, though.
Maybe. That's quite possible.
Oh, it's definitely going to get worse if there's less ambulance drivers and cops.
Well, it's getting worse now. There's more crime.
Yeah.
All across the United States now.
Yeah. So what? Where's Snake Plissken? That's what I want to know.
I don't want Snake Plissken.
Why not?
He's too short. Everybody thinks he was dead.
It's funny enough, I saw Snake Plissken at the supermarket last time when the BLM riots were happening, and I'm like, what are you doing in here, man? You shouldn't need to be out saving LA.
What do you say to that?
I didn't say that to him. Really, but I saw him in the store, and I helped him. But I really wanted to say that. I wanted to say, Snake, why aren't you out saving the city? The BLM riots are happening right now.
Because I take the Smokey the Bear approach to life.
Which is what?
Only you can stop fill in the blank.